Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I did a thing this weekend. I hit a milestone in my filmmaking career. I shot my first wedding.
In? Oh, you're in front of the building? Okay, I'll send Danny there. Okay. Okay. Bye.
We're in the middle of a time crunch and we can't find the bride and groom.
Before I show you the actual footage and the edit, I need to explain to you the context so you kind of understand how, why certain decisions were made. First of all, I was notified of the shoot 24 hours before the actual day of the shoot. It was for my brother-in-law's wedding. And you know, it was more like, hey, your family, we know that you have a camera, you have some gear, you just want to come and shoot some stuff, maybe just capture some memories. The only issue was I didn't have a lens that can shoot a wedding. So I had to quickly go buy a zoom lens, so I ended up with this. I got the Tamron 17-70mm f2.8 fixed aperture, which is quite important to me to shoot the wedding. I've never used it before, and to my surprise, it actually turned out pretty good. Secondly, this was a COVID wedding. So we didn't have footage of the bride and groom getting ready. We didn't have a reception, so this was going to be a condensed version of a wedding video. And I don't have a gimbal, so everything is shoot handheld. And if you know anything about the a6400, it has no stabilization built in, so I'm in a little bit of a pickle right here. So in short, I had no plan, I had no gimbal, and without further ado, here's the edit.
I saw you in the morning light. I just held my place.
I tried.
And it goes away with a little time. We'll give our memories grace. We were choosing opportunity over wrong and right. Was a target worth the vanity? Was it worth the sacrifice? Only beggars we were. All these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Stack of letters in the bottom drawer. All the ink turned gray. And I've tried at least 1,000 times to throw them away. And my thoughts have turned to questions now of the paths we take. Is the one you took a better road when you walked away? Only beggars we were. All these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Only beggars we were. All these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Sometimes I see the journey back there. Sometimes I wanna go. Read the line from my memory. Let the truth be known.
I'm my worst critic, and I compared this to all the videos that I saw the night prior and how they shot weddings and tips that they had for shooting solo. And compared to those shots where they had drone footage, they had people getting ready, and they had this whole cohesive story, in comparison to that, yeah, this falls short. But for the circumstances that I was in and the time that I had, I think this was not too bad for a first shot. So if you have any constructive criticism, or if you just want to hate, let me know down in the comments, and make sure on the way down there you hit that like button so it helps out with the algorithm. So with any first, you always learn a ton of things. And I want to share with you 3 things that I learned and picked up for absolute beginners shooting their first wedding solo. Number 1, if you're like me and you don't have a gimbal, make sure you shoot everything in 60 FPS or 120. But if I were to do this again, I would either buy or rent a gimbal so I can have these tracking shots in real time, because there are some moments and emotions that just don't feel right and don't move right when it's in slow motion. And if you watch the edit again, the whole thing was in slow motion. So there were times where it felt a little slow, and I wish it was in real time, just usable footage where it's not shaking and doesn't feel like I drank 4 cups of coffee. And another tip that I learned, if you have one of these things, this Gorilla tripods or a switch pod or whatever you have, you can kind of use this as a stabilizer. And what I ended up doing was putting the gimbal against my chest, and I'll just tilt my camera up this way, and this would be my 3 points of contact because I wasn't wearing a neck strap, and everything kind of moves quickly. So I would just do this and I'll hold it against my chest so I can do some slower pans. That served as a third method of stabilization, and I think it helped a little bit for some of my shots. Number 2, work with your photographer. I was lucky enough to actually know the photographer. She was the one that shot my wedding as well. And the thing is, when you're an absolute beginner like I am, you don't have an in-depth professional understanding of how lighting works. So one of the things that I did was I leveraged her expertise in where she positioned the couple, how she got the kind of detail shots of the ring, and where she placed the flowers to get some of those B-roll detail shots of the wedding and the decorations. Leverage them. They know what they're doing with light. So when they're setting up, if you can, ask to tag along so you can get some quick footage. Just make sure you get out of their way because you don't want to be in their frame. You don't want to ruin their flow of work. And if you're like me and you're unpaid, they're the ones that's getting paid for the job. You're kind of like the freelancer, and you can learn a lot from them in terms of where to position, how to capture the moments. So definitely be friends with the photographer, be kind, get out of the way, and leverage their expertise. So tip number 3, don't be afraid of directing a little bit.
As you're walking towards me, can you give a quick kiss?
Huh?
It's a quick kiss. Wait. I missed it. Again? There we go.
And I'm not a director, I'm not even a videographer, I'm barely a vlogger. But one thing that you do want to do in a wedding is that you want to capture the authenticity of the moment. But there's also the aspect of this is a personal, intimate wedding video, mostly for the eyes of the couple. So you want to capture some of the moments of how they express themselves and capture their personality too. Do a little bit of directing. Like for me, I was asking them, hey, can you walk towards me? Can you walk a little closer?
You guys walk a little closer together?
Walk a little closer.
Wherever you guys are going, I'm just gonna try.
Can you hold hands together? Hey, give a little kiss here.
Just look at each other. Like you're in love.
Like you're, I hope.
And kind of getting those jokes and like their relationship flowing and getting their true colors to come out and have them interact in a natural manner. Because once a camera gets in someone's face, things change. Something clicks in your psyche, and you can't just be a natural human being. And especially when they're posing for pictures, which was a lot of the footage that I got, you don't get to capture the personality, the intricacies of the relationship. So get them out of the photographer space, try to direct a little bit if you can, and capture the footage that best expresses their personality and the relationship. Anyway, so that was my 3 top tips. If you're not using a gimbal, make sure you're shooting in slow-mo, understanding that the edit will have its limitations. Number 2, work with the photographer, leverage that expertise in terms of lighting and making sure you're getting the most flattering shots of the couple. And number 3, tell their story and don't be afraid to direct some shots that you have to, keeping the edit in mind. So with that, this was a ton of fun. Hopefully this will be the first of many. Or actually maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.